housing development. It's a place for the animals.
And how many dogs do you have here, and how many cats?
Well, we're going to put a limit on it, but it's sort of hard to put a limit on animals when you pick them up from the road, or somebody calls you about all these puppies that have been abandoned, or they're in a trash can. We have 190 dogs now, and approximately 70 cats.
Well, what do you need here? I see that there's some construction going on. What kind of facilities are you looking to expand into or build? What are your basic needs here?
Okay. We first started, I had a 3-phase plan when we got here. First was to build a shelter, then next was a clinic, and our third phase was to do an educational center, because I can go on and continue to rescue dogs 1,000 a day if I wanted to. But we need construction like a quarantine area for the animals. It seems that whenever we do get an area built, it's supposed to be for that. We end up with a few more animals, or we have to use it for puppies. We have 25 puppies right now. They're not born here. We bring them from all different parts of the country. That, the mother's been killed, or they're, like I said, found in a trash can, or abandoned by the side of the road. In year 2000, we put out a calendar. We haven't had time to do another one. I couldn't put the word sterilize on the calendar, because you couldn't use that word here. So I had to put spay, neuter.
Sheenie wanted to show me the jewels of Hound Heights. Who doesn't love puppies?
I haven't got names from yet. I'm hoping they're going to go to adoption soon. But this one follows me around. This one and this one. You two I saved you the other day. Down now? Okay, your turn. Your turn.
And I just couldn't resist them myself.
What's this one's name? Maybe we'll name you Antoine. Is this a boy or a girl? We can name her Antoinette.
Sheenie and her British husband introduced me to a very special cat named Munkle. Munkle's story was a familiar one concerning the abuse these animals have endured, thrown away only to eventually find a loving home here at Hound Heights.
He grew into a beautiful cat. Then we had him sterilized. Well, then somebody dumped a box full of three babies down by the
Three
road.
kittens?
3 kittens. So their names were Box, Fox, and Socks.
Could you grab Munkle? Is that what you call Soul? Is also known as Munkle?
Come on, Munkle. You're gonna be
I want to
filmed,
see.
mister. Yes.
Munkle, this is Animal Planet Supremo. Look. So this is Munkle, who is. And Soul. Soul's the soccer player? Yes? So Munkle was thrown in a latrine, left for dead, and a little boy rescued her?
Yeah.
And then.
He adopted these kittens and looked after them, brought them up, taught them everything they know. They even tried to suckle him, and he let them. He had these really sore nipples.
Don't.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, it's not very comfortable.
This is Lago Atitlan, one of the most spectacular sights in the entire Western Hemisphere. The lake is surrounded by cloud-kissing volcanoes and dotted with small picturesque villages. Apart from its exotic appeal, Lago Atitlan is home to a controversial cultural icon, Mashimun. Mashimun is perceived both as a demon and a figure of idol worship to devout Christians. For others, he is merely a totem of their prayers, beseeching him with offers of money and worldly luxuries such as cigarettes or alcohol. I traveled here with my Scandinavian friends, 2 nurses named Osa and Tula, to witness Mashimun for ourselves. The eerie scene we witnessed was both intriguing and almost horrifying. Speaking neither English nor Spanish, the man towards the back of the room haunted us with his troubling behavior.
So what do you think?
Strange.
Tula?
The same for me. Strange.
Hola, chico.
I don't understand this, really.
Yeah, it's hard to understand. Do you have things like this in Sweden and Finland?
No, no.
On October 5th, 2005, rains caused by Hurricane Stan triggered a massive mudslide in Santiago de Atitlan, which killed hundreds of Guatemalans. This tragedy still haunts the area to this very day. This is Ground Zero, where our young guide described to us what happened on that fateful night.
Okay, listo? ¿Cuántas personas se morían aquí?
Aquí 800 personas.
It's horrible.
Sí. Aquí están enterados todos. Este lado están todavía algunos niños, papás y madres. Están allí abajo del deslave.
Ah, es una pena. Mi corazón es muy triste.
Sí. Allí arriba hay una familia de 32 personas murieron allá. De una sola familia. Era una grande familia. El deslave fue a las 3 de la mañana. Había lluvia y no había eléctrica. Cuando vino el deslave, estaban dormidos todos y vino todo el deslave. Y murieron 800 personas allá abajo del deslave.
I spoke with Jose Susnavar, Deputy Director of the Independent Forensic Anthropology Foundation, about the efforts to recover missing bodies. The tragedy was so huge that a mass grave was declared at the site of the disaster. This was much easier than attempting to search for people's missing loved ones. The forensic experts present are trained in recovering the bodies of victims, a practice they put to regular use during Guatemala's 36 years of civil war. I asked Osa her thoughts on what she had witnessed at Ground Zero.
I'm speechless. I can't speak.
This is Lago Atitlan, as seen from the ecological park high above the tiny town of San Pedro. My guide, Giovanni Gonzalez, offered to take me on the so-called Uptown tour.
Este es el fruto del café. Y la mayoría de las personas en todo San Pedro cultivan mucho café, como también maíz. Más arriba encontramos una gran plantación de maíz.
Oh, bueno, qué bueno. Toda la gente de Guatemala.
Durante el desastre de la tormenta están todos los pueblos de la orilla del alrededor del lago tuvieron mucho desastre. Santiago Atitlán, Panajachel, Santa Cruz, Jaibalito, San Juan La Laguna y muchos pueblos más. San Pedro, La Laguna no tuvo desastres.
¿Por qué?
Solo lo sabe el que está allá arriba. Bueno, la tormenta empezó en la tarde. En la tarde empezó a llover. Pensamos que era una llovizna nada más, normal como siempre. Luego no paraba de llover. Empezó los truenos, empezaron la tormenta. Y luego en la noche se fue la luz en todo San Pedro. Se desconectó la luz. Luego en toda la noche llovía. Toda la noche llovía. Escuchábamos en las orillas del lago que mucha gente estaban siendo evacuados por la tormenta. Mucho peligro en la orilla de alrededor del lago. La gente de San Pedro La Laguna, el negocio que también tienen son las lanchas. Toda la gente salió a traer a esa gente en las lanchas. La gente de San Pedro prestaron sus medios de transporte para ir a traer a esa gente. Y yo creo que es por eso que San Pedro no tuvo desastres aquí. Ayudó a los demás pueblos para que se pudieran venir a albergar a este lugar.
The lucky ones who didn't perish in the October 2005 mudslide moved here, to a refugee camp paid for by Oxfam and the European Union. What struck me most about the camp is that we in the West are so rich in so many ways, yet we remain so unhappy. Here the people have lost everything, but they're just happy to be alive. The children are especially happy, playing pickup games of soccer and drinking Coca-Cola. I spoke to the father of a family that had been caught up in the mudslide disaster.
Marta, Ana. ¿Y tú, señor?
Diego.
Ok. Dime, por favor, ¿qué ocurrió con este desastre, esta noche?
Sí, lo que empezó desde el 5 de octubre, desde el 2 de octubre que empezó la lluvia fuerte. Y pasó un día, otra noche y otro día, y llegó el 5 de octubre que se derrumbó ese volcán de San Lucas. Sí. Entonces, en ese momento, primero viene como a las 2:30 de la mañana, viene el primer deslave, que se enterró a algunas gentes, este es nuestro vecino. Y como a las 5:30 de la mañana viene otra vez, se enterró toda la gente ahí en Panabaj, a la par del Ministerio Público. Ahí se enterró todo y se enterró, algunos licenciados se enterraron ahí, unos hospitalitas y escuela. Y a nosotros pues, solo que se quedó, atravesó un palo grande, se atravesó a la par de nosotros, entonces él nos defensó y ahí nos salvó a nosotros.
Entonces, ¿qué ocurrió entonces?
En ese momento nos se asustaron y cuando nosotros estamos arriba un poco y cuando nos bajamos a la carretera y el lodo hasta llegó a la cintura. Y entonces en ese momento pues nos desesperaron y a todos mis hijos viniera la gente del pueblo y toda la gente vinieron y cargaron mis niñas, como 4 niñas tengo.
Es una pena, es muy triste.
Sí, muy triste. Entonces ahora pues el lugar donde nos ocurrió a nosotros está en alto riesgo. ¿Ah? Entonces se quedó ahí y mis hijas se quedó 2 antes que vinieran a traer a la otra. Entonces viene la gente del pueblo, nos llevaron mis 4 hijas y a nosotros pasamos con mi esposa en el lodo como unos 5 cuerdas nos pasamos al lodo.
I used to be a runner basically, and I worked at a post-production place called The Mill, and I have it in the States as well. And it's owned by Ridley Scott and Tony Scott, half of it. And half of it I think is owned by, a portion of it's owned by U2. But I never really got involved with them. Anyway, they've made Gladiator, the special effects for Gladiator, Babe, that pig, yeah.
Babe was a pig.
And my job was basically to run around and take people's orders of tea, coffee, whatever they wanted, their food. And it was on about 5 floors. And one day I went around and I always like burst in and, hi, what do you want for your food? And I asked Ridley Scott what he wanted, and he wanted some sandwiches. So I ran upstairs and got the sandwiches, and when I was coming back down again, they had trays this size and trays this size, and I just had his plate of sandwiches, which his plate was that big, and I only had this big tray, but we had to put them on the tray. And so I went downstairs and I went to give him his sandwiches, but he was walking up to another edit suite a couple of floors up. So I said, oh, well, I'll take the sandwiches up for you. And he said, no, I'll take my sandwiches. And I said, no, please let me take your sandwiches. And he was like, no. And short of like just pulling it out of his hands, I let him take his sandwiches. And I went upstairs and I carried on. And this producer came in going, I've just seen Ridley Scott carrying his own sandwiches up the stairs. What happened? And I was like, well, I tried to...
He said F?
Yeah, the whole way through. And
he's in trouble.
And I was like, oh, well, it was me, basically. And he went, you're fired. And so I said, can I work out the rest of my shift? Because I don't really want to just leave. I think it's a bit unfair. And I wanted to, leave at the end of the day. So I carried on working. They said I could do that. I carried on working. I went downstairs and I was a bit upset because I'd been working there for a year and a half. And Ridley Scott said to me, what's the matter? What's wrong? And I said, I don't know, I got fired today. And he said, why? And I said, because I let you carry your sandwiches up the stairs. And he went to me, don't worry, Lou, I'll sort it. And the next day I got promoted to reception.
So Ridley Scott saved your career?
Yeah, he did.
That's
made
amazing.
Me into Super Lou, yeah.
That's when you became Super Lou?
Yeah.
What
what happened during Katrina?
Well, we pretty much took the eye of the storm. The publicity, I think, goes more to New Orleans, but that wasn't much of a hurricane. That was more of the levee breaking, kind of a political disaster. But we actually got the eye of the storm. There was 20 and 30-foot storm surges. My family actually lives on, our house is on the bayou, which is just kind of a little inlet from the river. So we were waterfront and took on about a 24-foot storm surge. Our house is 18 feet in the air. Pretty much all the houses are lifted on pilings because we're on the water and it floods. But we got, we're 18 feet in the air, we got 6 feet of water in our house. So all of everything we own, all of our possessions and things like that were destroyed.
Well, you mentioned your mom had a bookstore?
A small independent bookstore that was actually the most amazing place I've ever been to. It was in a little cottage, and like the kids' books were in the kitchen, the little bedroom, and the cookbooks were in the kitchen, and we had a front porch, and it was kind of the social hub of Bay St. Louis. We had a lot of parties and a lot of autographings, and my family really, it was a very, very successful, fun business. And after Katrina, when we got back, it was only the slab was left. It took us about 3 or 4 days to even find any books, the remains of books, which were all like pulp.
Pulp Fiction.
Definitely.
21-year-old Stephen Armstrong has been working as a missionary in Guatemala since he was 17.
We're in a very remote, sometimes 20, 30 miles away from the nearest town, so if anything ever does happen, there's no law presence there. There's a lot of crime here in Guatemala, a lot of drug deals. The mafia is a very strong presence here. Even simple things like drunks or family feuds can sometimes go out into the streets in any given village and put anyone's life in danger who's in the middle of it. It's not very widely known to outside people here in Guatemala. Monthly, sometimes as many as hundreds of women are kidnapped. Young women from the ages of 14 to their early 20s are kidnapped. They're never found again. Sometimes their bodies are found. Sometimes parts of their bodies are found. And many people believe that this has to do with an underground satanic gang or ritualistic group here in Guatemala that is using these young girls for different rituals and sacrifices.
It's pretty amazing. It's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, and it's a small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it. Why don't you tell the world what happened 3 years ago and what happened last night?
3 years ago, I was sitting out on a veranda of a little hotel in San Pedro, Belize.
What was the hotel's name?
Ruby's, and San Pedro is the town that Madonna sings about.
La Isla Bonita.
Are you going to sing a little bit of it? Last night I dreamt of San Pedro.
Okay, that's pretty good. So then what happened? So it's let's say September or October, November of 2004.
It was Thanksgiving, 2004.
Thanksgiving of 2004, and you're at Ruby's Hotel in Belize, where I met Sonia, Melinda, Gray, and what happened?
I was with a friend of mine, Megan Myers, and
describe Megan Myers.
She is absolutely stunning, tall. She looks a lot like Kristen, brown hair. Yeah, strawberry blonde.
Thank you.
Sun.
And what happened when I saw Kristen?